Good morning, class. Today we will continue our discussion with the specific types of police report. Our last discussion yesterday ended with crime report. So today we will begin our discussion with situation report. Also, yesterday we discussed the classes of reports: technical reports, problem determining reports, problem solution reports, fact finding reports, and performance reports. We also discussed categories of reports, to wit, operational reports, internal business reports, and summary reports. We also mentioned two general types of reports: basic or informal reports and investigative or formal reports. So the specific types of police report, we discussed spot report, special report, beat inspection report or after patrol reports, wanted person report, arrest report, and crime report. Now, as I said, let's begin with situation report. Okay. Situation report, also known as SITREP, is similar to patrol report, which is submitted every 8 hours but on a need-only basis. Okay. As I mentioned to you yesterday, a patrol report, this is actually made by those person who are patrol reports, and beat inspection report are actually made by those officers or law enforcers who, after they make their routine check using patrol cars or on foot. Okay, they submit this report um, every 8 hours. Okay, and this situation report is also submitted every 8 hours but on a need only basis, when it is only needed. It is important when reporting on a situation to higher authorities to present the information in a way that is concise, easily transmitted on unreliable radio or telephone systems, easily read, and which covers key areas. Normally, situation reports are sent to some central control authority at set times of the day or week to provide a snapshot of the situation as it develops. This also helps to cut down the pressure on communications that may themselves be disrupted or reduced. The value of the SITREP is to help both the area affected, the local government authorities, to deal with the disaster and ongoing developments in it. So situation report, this is actually made during, example, disaster times. Okay, wherein the law enforcers or the investigating officer or the officer will report on a need when the need arises to the local authorities concerned, to the local government unit concerned, and to his superior. He will report the developments, the ongoing developments of the situation or the disaster. So why is it important? Why is it situation report is important? Because completing the SITREP covers all key aspects of community survival. A structured message is easier to carry as a document or to send over radio or the telephone. The SITREP can be copied to organizations with different responsibilities to initiate action and ensure that action is coordinated. SITREPs from various parts of an affected area can be used to detect variations in general need and so assist in allocating resources most effectively. SITREPs form a record for the future of the actual situation and the results of actions to deal with. Okay. This let's say for example, kintahay, di ba, na disaster, or let's say disaster katong na flood, or let's say na iguog bagyo. Okay, so the law enforcers will make situation reports on a when it is needed. Okay, the situation reports, copy of which are actually submitted to the local government unit concerned, to the superior officers of the investigating of the person making the report to the national government, to, let's say for example, private institutions that are helping, okay, the victims of the disaster. The situation report is actually sent to them, a copy of the situation report. Any agencies that is involved in the rehabilitation of the area, okay, let's say for example, the Red Cross, okay, what else, or any other associations, um, non-profit organizations that help in the recovery of the survivors of the disaster. Okay, the report will inform them, or will give them a snapshot or an idea of what is going on in the area of disaster. So they are apprised of the ongoing developments of the situation or the crisis. Okay. Uh, Steps in preparing a situation report. First, you gather information on each aspect covered by the SITREP. So SITREP actually is made, it can be done by several people, and the information actually is assembled centrally. Okay, so this is actually a collaborative efforts of many reporters, or many or several people. Okay, and the information that they gathered are assembled centrally. Okay, there's a focal person that will assemble all the reports, all the situations on each aspect covered by the report. Okay, draft the SITREP at an agreed time, preparing one copy to file locally and one to be taken or transmitted to higher authorities. Okay, if possible, arrange for the message to be sent through secure official channels like fax, police radio, local authority radio, that are hard for others to interfere with or to monitor for a malicious purpose. Number four, alternatively, send a copy of the SITREP by messenger or transmit by the most secure channel available in order in order of security. In order of security, line telephone, mobile telephone, amateur radio, or CB radio. Last, prepare a modified version of the SITREP as headed paragraphs for a news bulletin for local rest centers and official notice boards. Okay, what are parts? Let's go to the parts of a situation report. In view of the government advice, it is wisest to adopt these parts, which match the effects of the disaster rather than the cause. The following classifications are advised but may need to be modified according to events. So in the SITREP, you place there two. Number one, two, or the police or local authority control center in charge of the relief operation. The addressee, okay, the person that are supposed to receive the report. So two, from the author of the report, example, the community council, the community volunteer. Okay, you place there the date and the time of the situation report draft. Okay, the area referred to in the situation report, example, you place there the street, the community council area, the village, or the town. Next, you place the nature of the emergency, the location, the type and scale of crisis, what kind of disaster is the subject of the situation report, whether it is a flood, fire, or volcanic eruption, earthquake. You place it there. Okay. Next, the law and order situation, whether you place it here, especially when there is absence of any police presence, or when there are no police presence. Okay. Is the peace and order situation, or the law and or is the law and order situation in the place okay, or were there any, let's say for example, Were there any, let's say, for example, seditious activities in the place or in the disaster area? Were there any crimes committed in the area? Were the victims, were the people around the area hostile? Okay, so you include that in the situation report. You also include the medical situations. How many persons were killed? How many missing or injured? The medical support or ambulance that are present in the area or are needed, or the vulnerable people needing support. You include the feeding problems. Are the food are there food or drinking water shortages? Are there emergency feeding or delivery requirements? You also write you also include in your situation report welfare problems, accommodation, rest centers, social service needs, vulnerable groups needing support. Okay, um, you also place their road access, whether the roads are blocked, well, what are the best routes in going in and out of the area. Okay, you include also telephone and radio communications. You include public utility availability, whether there are disruptions of water, electricity, gas, and sewerage. Okay, the organizations active, the emergency services, voluntary aid societies, emergency volunteers, local authority services, and commercial firms. And you also include therein local assessment of the general situation. And so that is situation report. Now let's go to miscellaneous. By the way, I will be giving you format or samples of the different types of reports that I discussed to you and will be discussing to you later on. Maybe tomorrow I will send to you via Google Class na lang, okay? So you can appreciate the things that I am talking to you right now, okay? Let's go to miscellaneous incident report, also known as MI report. This is used to document any incident, situation, or circumstances that are not crimes or may not be designated by a particular title. The purpose of this report is simply to maintain the integrity of the department's reporting system. So miscellaneous incident report, those that actually you report something that you are not covered by the foregoing or the different types and kinds of report that we just discussed. Okay, so so that there can be no gap. Okay, there every situation must be reported. Okay, must be placed into a written report for the integrity, in order to maintain the integrity of the department's reporting system. So if there are miscellaneous activities that are not covered by any kinds of report that I just mentioned to you, you you make a miscellaneous report, miscellaneous incident report out of that. Okay, the traffic accident report. This report is written by the officer who investigates a traffic accident. This type of report documents all the facts and information about any vehicular accident, whether it is fatal or non-fatal. This also examines the nature of the damage of any property, the location of the accident, and its causes. Included in this type of report are statements of witnesses, diagrams, and photographs. The officer of the case should do the following: follow the uniform traffic accident reporting system, prepare the traffic accident report from evidences, diagrams, sketches, and sworn statements of witnesses, and the traffic investigation report will be accomplished in 5 copies to be submitted to: number 1, the court or the prosecutor's office; number 2, the TRAFCOM or the traffic division; number 3, the investigator; number 4, the insurance company for party involved; and the insurance company of the for party involved of the number 1, and the insurance company for party involved number 2. So traffic accident report, this is actually very important to record a vehicular accident the situations or the circumstances accompanying the vehicular accident. If I am not mistaken, party involved number one is actually the person liable, or the person who is liable to cause, or who caused the accident, or let's say for example the transgressor, the violator. And party involved number two is actually the victim, refers to the victim, or is it otherwise? Okay, I'm not so familiar with this. Okay, so the traffic accident report, this is actually very helpful. And there will be sketches involved. There will be affidavits of the witnesses. The witnesses will make a sworn statement to that effect of the personal facts that they knew. Okay, the personal facts that are available to them during the accident. Okay, so there will be sketches, there will be diagrams of the you will include there in the victims, the violators of, let's say, of a traffic ordinance or the traffic law which led to the accident, the location of the accident, and the causes. Okay, you also include there in photographs of the property damage, or let's say for example of any evidence. If there are skid marks on the ground or on the road, you also place that, because it will determine, it will tell you whether the drivers or the parties were speeding moderately, okay, or were traversing the, let's say, the area or the highway at the required, or okay, at the required speed. Okay, because if there are skid marks, di ba, kanang gas-gas gani sa dalan, pasabot po ana, it could mean that the driver was overspeeding when the accident happened. Okay, you take pictures of the location, whether it is whether the accident happens in the intersection, at an intersection, or at a curve area, or at a curvature of the road, or at the shoulder of the road. Okay, that will, so the prosecutor or the officers and also the insurance company can actually have a good picture of the accident. Okay, let's go to investigation report. An investigation So, okay, an investigation report is written to investigate a particular case or crime. This is an internal form of communication that requires the addressee, the officer on case, and the chief of investigation section. The addressee of investigation report is the chief or head of a police unit. The officer on case will write and sign the report, and it will be noted by the chief of investigation section. An investigation report is important in court proceedings. The prosecutor's office can use this in filing appropriate cases, while the court can use this for minor offenses and for determining whether the accused is guilty or innocent. The investigator writes an investigation report to achieve these objectives for record, leads, and prosecution. An investigation report provides a permanent official record of the pertinent information procured during the course of the investigation. It also provides other investigators the lead and information relevant to further advance their own investigation, and provides statements of facts for prosecution action which designated authorities may base a criminal either for corrective or disciplinary action. Like any other reports, an investigation report is subject to close scrutiny at all levels of command. Therefore, it must be grammatically correct. It must use correct and appropriate abbreviation, and it must be free from slang, colloquialism, and unnecessary technical terms. Okay, the investigation report, this is actually made to cover a situation crime, or a particular crime or a particular case. So the investigation report, these are actually submitted to the court for minor offenses to determine whether or not the accused is guilty or innocent of the crime, of the minor offense charge, of the minor crime charged against him. Okay, this is also important for the prosecutor, for the fiscal, so um, he can determine the existence of probable cause on whether or not he will file the information in the court. Okay, so you in the investigation report, the the police officer will actually answer in his report the 5 W's and 1 H. Okay, so the and in answering so and in doing so, the elements of the crimes, the corpus delicti of the crime will be established, because these elements of the crime, the corpus delicti, will become the basis for the filing of the information in court by the prosecutor. And in turn, these elements, the mention of the elements of the crimes in the investigation report and the corpus delicti, will also serve as a basis, will also serve as evidence in court, so that the court can dispose of the case, so that the court can know and determine whether or not all the elements of the crimes are present in connection with a certain criminal or a particular case or crime. Okay, that is why an investigation report should be made, are scrutinized at every level. Okay, therefore it must be grammatically correct, made with grammatically correct. Okay, and use appropriate abbreviations, and your writing, if it is handwritten, it should be readable, or diba, legible. Okay, and avoid unnecessary words or slangs or colloquialism. Okay, classification of investigation reports. There are actually 3 classifications of investigation report, namely initial or advance report, the progress or follow-up report, and the final report. Initial or advance report. This is an advance information on a new or fresh case assigned to an investigator. The data in this report is not yet complete from the word itself, initial or advance, so it is not yet complete, but it is written and immediately submitted after the preliminary investigation of the case. Points to remember in writing initial or advance report. The paragraph 1 of the report is the introductory paragraph of an initial report. The objective of the introductory paragraph is to point out to the reader the statement of the objective and the subject of the report. So after presenting the introductory paragraph, the report writer will proceed with paragraph number 2, narrating the facts gathered in the course of the ongoing investigation. So paragraph 1 could also mean prefatory statement. Paragraph 1 could also mean introductory statement of what is the case all about, of what is the what crime it is, what crime is committed, the necessary informations. You can also put in paragraph 1 the parties involved. Okay, they're the basic information about them. Okay, you place there the crime that you sought to establish in that report, in that initial or advanced report. And then in the second paragraph, okay, you mentioned in your first, diba, the crime you sought to prove. Okay, in the second paragraph, that is where your facts, the narration of facts will appear. Okay, the questions, the answer to the questions of 5 W's and 1 H shall be placed in the second paragraph. Okay, you established in the second paragraph the elements of the crime and the corpus delicti. Okay, the progress report. Another classification is the progress report. This is a written narration of facts developed by the investigator in the course of the follow-up investigation. This is a report on subsequent details which are very vital to the case but have not been incorporated in the initial report. So this report should be submitted within 3 days after the initial report has been submitted, and consequently a monthly report thereafter. So basically, progress report, these include situations or events or supervening events that are actually not incorporated in the initial or advanced report. So monthly report, monthly situation. Okay, you report weekly let's say for example on a weekly basis on the developments of the case, of the criminal case. You include that in your progress report, okay? Points to remember in writing progress report. Number one, in the progress report, the statement of the objective or the objective of the report is changed. The opening statement of the introductory paragraph is also changed from initial report to progress report. For administrative purposes, the case number is not mentioned. An original number is assigned to every new fresh case throughout the investigation unit until it is solved. The report progresses through the follow-up investigation done by the investigator. Now let's go to final report. This actually is a complete written narration of facts based from a thorough investigation of the case. This is a result of evaluation, summation, and analysis of all facts and circumstances of the case and the complete accumulation and collection of the data. So final report, when you have already let's say for example established all the elements of the crime, all you have already answered the 5 W's and 1 H, and when it is already for filing before the fiscal or the court, so that is where you will make a final report. Okay, you sum up everything. Okay, you analyze all facts gathered and the circumstances of the case, and then you complete the accumulation and collection of data, and then you summarize everything in the final report. So your final report will be based on your initial or advanced report and the progress report. So you collate them all and you make a one good concise final report. Okay, points to remember in writing the final report. So the final report bears the mark case solved or closed. So how is that? What does it mean? Whether the accused is incarcerated or the accused is freed, okay, gubihan ba ang accused, or any other actions that are taken. Okay, the heading has the same letterhead, case number, date, nature of the crime. The introductory paragraph presents the original facts of the case. The body has the main contents of the report and related facts about the crime, and the final sequence of events are unfolded there. The ending has the usual administrative data like the signature of the report writer, the official endorsement of the section, and the department offices. So let's discuss parts of an investigation report. An investigation report has the following parts: the authority, the matters investigated, the facts of the case, discussion, conclusion, and recommendation. Each of these parts is elaborated as follows. Okay, the authority. This is the part where the investigator cites the authority for making the report, and he states briefly the date, the place, and the person by whom the investigation is made. The matters investigated. The investigator writes the purpose of his report by generally stating what the investigation is all about. Included are the complaints and the allegations of committed crimes. Okay? The facts of the case, you narrate therein the factual circumstances of the case in order to build a good case. Okay? You answer the 5 W's and 1 H, and then you mention there in the elements of the crimes, the facts that would constitute the elements of the crime. Discussion, you will discuss the factual antecedents that you placed in your preceding paragraph, and you support it with laws. You support it with jurisprudence or case laws. Okay, you will so. So you can establish a good cause or probable cause of the criminal case. Conclusion, you will summarize the result of the whole investigation. The summary should be supported by facts based also on the facts that are written on your report. And then the recommendation, whether or not the police officer will write his judgment and practical suggestions for appropriate actions to be taken, whether or not to file the case before the fiscal's office, or whether or not to file it before the court or to any agencies, appropriate agencies, okay, or whether or yes, okay. Steps in writing an investigation report. In order for an investigator to write a good and complete report, he needs to follow certain steps, and these steps and the following steps should be followed. Okay, initial preparation. This is the first step of writing the investigation report. where the investigator determines his purposes and objectives in writing the report. He then gathers the facts and circumstances related to the case. So, as I said, when you make a report, it will involve a tedious process. You do not just make a report haphazardly. Our initial step, initial preparation. You first think and you plan on your mind what is the purpose and objective of you writing a report. Okay, you plan on when and where and how you will gather the facts and circumstances related to the case. Okay, next you have the final organization of the collected data. Using chronological order, all the gathered facts and evidences related to the case should be sequentially presented. Okay, to give a better picture of the case, of the criminal case, or any case for that matter. The preparation of the first draft, just like the second step, the first draft should also follow the chronological order of presentation. The draft should be based from the outline and should be presented in a clear manner with the use of appropriate transitions to maintain the coherent flow of ideas. Next, you rewrite and polish the report. This is the step where the investigator will recheck, edit, and review the rough draft to check and correct the errors, and goes on rewriting to improve the whole report. Okay, and you finalize your report. This is the last step where the investigator prepares the final report based from the rewritten and corrected draft. So, diba, ang makita nimo no, report lang. But then again, you will not, if you are a police officer, if you are a good police officer who has a good report writing skills, you can appreciate really the process, the laborious process that goes with it. Okay, imagine you have to make an initial preparation, then you will organize everything, the collected data, and then you will make a draft, and then you will rewrite and polish the draft before you can achieve a finalized report. Okay, so as what I am saying, you actually report writing or making any kinds of report is actually a talent, and if you don't have that talent, you have to practice over time. It will not come to you easily. Okay, the talent of making a good report writing. Okay, you have to practice over time. Okay, you have to look for examples on the net, over the internet. You go to, let's say for example, sites. Okay, you go to example to the PNP sites. Okay, there you can find samples of reports and any other sites, helpful sites. Okay, so you can train yourselves and you will be familiarized with the different techniques in writing a police report. Okay, so I think that would be all for today. So tomorrow and on Friday I will be sending you different types of reports, sample reports. I will try to gather as many reports over the net, over the internet. Okay, I will send it to you via Google Class. So that would form part of our classes, in lieu of our classes tomorrow and on Friday. Okay, I will gather as many kinds of reports, as many classifications of reports as possible, and use it for your consumption. You actually have it with you when you will become, eventually you will become police officers. So you can use it as an example, or as a guide when you will be making your own reports someday. Okay, I know that making report is not easy. Okay, you have to practice very hard for it, so it will come out to you naturally. Okay, the process of writing will just flow naturally if you practice it over time. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and have a good day, and God bless us all. Thank you.